Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're tuning in for this video. Today we are at Islands of Adventure, as you can see behind me, and we're doing a little bit of a different video. So summer is just around the corner and beating the heat becomes a big topic during that time of the year. Here in Orlando, it gets pretty hot. So we're gonna head into the park and I'm gonna show you a few locations in Islands of Adventure, or a few ways to beat the heat while you're at the park. Let's get inside and have some fun. And as we make our way in, this one kind of doesn't apply to everybody, but there is currently an annual pass holder entrance which could help you beat the heat a little bit. The crowds at general entry do get a little bit big, so if you're avoiding the large crowds, this could be a good way to also avoid the heat. Now, our first little tip starts at the beginning of the park, and it is the trading company. Right as you enter, whether you're leaving the park or just getting to the park, this is a great spot to tuck away, look at some cool items, as well as avoid the heat. And the actual store itself runs a pretty long length from front to back, so whether you're entering and just want to avoid the heat really quick and get a good little skip on the front port of entry area, or you're leaving the park and want to head straight to the exit, this is a really good way of escaping the heat. Now, the trading company may not be the only store, obviously, at the park that is AC'd and a good idea to walk through. There's many other stores throughout the park, and as the summer days get hotter, I think a good tip is just to tuck into a store every once in a while. Every so often, as you're walking between rides, you get to see some of the merchandise, and the AC in a lot of the stores is amazing. I only pointed out the trading company specifically because it's so conveniently located to the entrance. So if you're getting into the park, you're already starting off and you're a little bit hot, or if you're exiting the park, the front of the trading company actually exits conveniently to the exit of Islands of Adventure. So it's a convenient little walkway. You actually cut off a little bit of the entry area and get right to the exit without the traffic that sometimes accumulates there from people taking pictures, entering the park or exiting the park. Now, we mentioned tucking into the stores in between rides to escape the heat, but tucking into the rides themselves could also be one of the best ways to escape the heat. They have some of the best AC queues as well as the ride themselves. And one of my favorite ones here at Islands of Adventure is the Cat in the Hat. The Cat in the Hat is one of the best for many reasons. Obviously, as soon as you walk in here, oh, it's so nice and cool. But one of the best things is there's typically never a wait. Right now, we're getting in line. We're solo, but it's only a 5-minute wait to jump on the Cat in the Hat. So you get to cool down, get on the ride really quickly, so get a bit of an experience. And once you get out, you're nice and refreshed. And just like that, just outside of the Cat in the Hat, we are nice and refreshed. Today is actually having a little bit of overcast, so it's not too bad, but I promise you, as the summer months approach, it does get warmer, and probably this afternoon it'll be pretty bad out here. So tucking into a ride like that and getting that nice refreshed AC feeling is amazing. And it also gives you that energy to keep going throughout the day. as we make our way through the Lost Continent, another great ride that was recently refurbed and recolored, not much of the ride actually changed, or the experience I guess you could say, it's more of a show, is Poseidon's. This is a great spot to cool down because it's completely indoor, it's fairly long, and the building is nice and AC'd. But enough of the rides. Our next little tip for escaping the heat while you're here at the parks at Islands of Adventure is in Hogsmeade. Let's make our way over there. Wow, and it is a busy day here because the line queue for Hagrid's has made it way back here. Haven't seen that in a while. Now, as we enter Hogsmeade, our next tip for escaping the heat here at Islands of Adventure comes in the form of a beverage. But not just any beverage, a special one. Now, if you haven't guessed already, that special drink is a butterbeer, specifically a frozen butterbeer. Plenty of carts throughout the land for you to buy a frozen butterbeer, but my favorite spot to go and grab one is over here at Hogs Head. Typically, if you want to avoid the lines, this would be the best place. It does get busy at times. Let's go inside and see if we could grab one for ourselves. This one almost ends up being a trifecta. It was a win-win situation. By going to Hogs Head, we got our butterbeer, frozen butterbeer, nice and cool. We also showed you how to avoid those lines from the butterbeer carts because those tend to be a lot longer, as well as we're at this dining area behind the Dream Broomsticks, which is actually nice and hidden, not too many people back here, and you also get a cool view of the Velocicoaster. And as we exit Hogsmeade to make our way into Jurassic Park to find our next area to beat the heat here at Islands of Adventure, I do gotta say, as we were exiting, that last tip was a good one because the two carts for butterbeer had huge lines. All right, so the next tip on escaping the heat here at Islands of Adventure would be one that I caution you. Be careful how you do this. You do have to prepare to pull this one off, and that is getting on the water rides. You have 3 water rides that you can get on. Some of them won't wet you as much, and then the other 2 will wet you drastically. First and foremost, we have River Adventure at Jurassic Park. That one can be bad, but it's typically not too bad. And then we have the other 2, which is Popeyes, as well as Dudley Do-Right over in Toon Lagoon. Those 2 will leave you drenched. So my advice would be, if you choose to go down that route, that'll be the long-term way of staying cool here at the park, but make sure you bring the appropriate clothing, or at least a change of clothing in a backpack, because your shoes will get wet, your socks will get wet, and then you'll be miserable. And Me Ship the Olive has reopened a few weeks back, and is another way that maybe you could help the individuals riding Popeyes cool down. Not yourself necessarily, but if you go up there, grab one of those water cannons and shoot on down, I'm assuming these people came here to get wet. And our next little tip to escape the heat seems like it's a popular one right now, but it's over at Camp Jurassic. They have all these like different caves and whatnot that you could duck into. And you'll see all the amber everywhere. Funny enough, as we were headed over here, my camera had a temperature warning, which means this is a much needed video with some tips and tricks on how to escape the heat, because even the camera couldn't escape the heat. And this little area, the Camp Jurassic area, is in the Jurassic Park area. It can be found over by the Pterodon Flyers. It is like a little kid zone, so there's some kids around playing and whatnot, but if you come during the day, a lot of times it is fairly empty back here, and it's a cool little spot to check out, explore, and cool down. You can hear some of the kids out in the distance. But I hope you guys enjoyed coming along. We talked about, items that you could consume to help you escape the heat, stores that you could walk through that have great AC, as well as some dark rides that have great AC, like the Cat in the Hat, and then a couple other little hidden locations. This almost feels like a hidden location here at the park. That's another video that I've been considering doing, and if you guys want to see something like that, make sure to comment down below. Let me know. Comment, like, and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. I'll see you guys on the next one. But don't forget to ask yourself, have you been entertained? Have you been entertained?